So previously I had posted a Star Trek comic haul. I got a bunch of comics. I got a crap ton of Star Trek The Next Generation comics a few weeks ago. Whoo! So we could take a look at all this. This is all DC Comics. To me, DC Comics did the best job of Star Trek comics. So we'll go through all this. So this is Star Trek Next Generation. I actually have this. I bought this off the rack when it came out. Next Generation issue 2. Michael Jan Friedman and Pablo Marcos. Let's get a line going here. So this is all from the 90s. You can see the Batman, the movie cassettes coming out. Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure. So these are all from like the late 80s, early 90s. This is when Star Trek Next Generation first came out. These, I said this in my previous video, I'll say it again. DC Star Trek was great in that you could easily fit these into the shows. Like, they could easily be episodes. So here you've got issue 5 and issue 6. Geordi LaForge trying to find love like he always tried to do in the show. Which is Tango and Cash is coming out, opening soon. We got issue 8, issue 9, and issue 10. Battle Within. So these are all still like Michael Jan Friedman and Pablo Marcos. Let's see the backs of these. Phantom Fighter for NES. Part of the Hopping Vampire craze. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie coming this spring. Total Recall. Yeah, this is all from the time that it was happening. Coming June 1st to theaters everywhere. Awesome stuff. Issue 11. 13. Yeah, it's not complete runs. It's just a bunch of comics. I really hope that these are not suffering the same fate as the Playmates figures, where like they could never get rid of those. I understand the action figures, but like, please do not sleep on these comics. They're great. Here you've got like that is the Enterprise. Yeah, so like, oh no, they're encountering another Enterprise. What is that? That happens all the time. You got Wesley Crusher. You got Cole Meany here. The Ferengi, Prisoners of the Ferengi. Pretty cool stuff. It's on the backs of these. Lynx, the Atari Lynx. Plays games in living color. Yeah, so they're already competing with Game Boy. Navy SEALs opens Friday, July 20th. And here you've got Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen, the Rookie. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, issue 16. Issue 18. Issue 21. Let's take a look inside, actually, some of these. You've got, like, DC ads and stuff. Yeah, everything was on point for Star Trek. I mean, you could really, like, just read these, and that's what I did. When I wanted more Star Trek as a kid, I would just read the comics. And I got the characterizations and everything. I got all the different, Angel and the Ape, eh? I got all the different kinds of stories I wanted out of Star Trek. Pretty cool stuff. Take a look at what we did, right? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is coming out. Flight of the Intruder is coming out. Pretty cool stuff. Alright. Let's look at issue 25, 26, and 27. Wonderful art. Great likenesses as well. I guess everyone signed over the likenesses, so no issues there. Everyone except for Kelsey Grammer, which we'll see later on. Yeah, pretty neat. Here's Strangers in Strange Lands. So they're undercover somewhere in some trading cards commercial. Yeah, and all here's Hook's coming out. All the even obscure characters. Another Hook commercial. Last Boy Scouts coming out. Opens December 13th everywhere. um, even obscure characters you remember, and I'll get to that soon. They would make appearances in Star Trek comics as well under DC Comics. Everyone concentrates on the Marvel stuff because I guess it's Marvel, but this was great stuff. So Honor Bound. This is Carlos Garzon. Wayne's World. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty neat. Descent into the Unknown. An attack on two fronts. Dun dun dun. Uh-oh. What's that? Let's take a look at the back. Batman Returns. June 19th. Def Leppard. 7-Day Weekend. And Under Siege is coming out October 9th. Alright. You've got issue 42, 45, and 47. Friedman's still writing. Yeah, there are a lot of guest writers too, and we'll get into that. I think I have some. I see one coming up actually. Let's take a look inside. Riker with an eye patch. That's awesome. Bloodlines commercial. Reign of the Superman commercial. Yeah, they're thick and heavy and into the Death of Superman stuff. There you go. Let's take a look at the backs of these. Atari Lynx. Point of No Return. Bridget Fonda. Opens March 19th everywhere. And FCI Games. TSR. Pretty cool stuff. Alright. Let's get into the annuals. So, John DeLacy wrote this annual. He, of course, played Q. And art by Gordon Purcell and Pablo Marcos. Wonderful art here. So it's a whole Q storyline. Here's Swamp Thing, the series, the old 90s series. Pretty neat. So yeah, it's a whole Q story. Pretty cool stuff. And Guinan's in it. Pretty neat. Here's Star Trek Special 2. This is cool. Ensign Rowe has a feature story in it. But also there are other characters that have stories in this. Let me try and get to that because they're really, really neat. So this girl is the daughter of the character from the old episode Court Martial from the original series. And so she was on board a Klingon vessel that got attacked. Everyone was dishonored on that, and she challenges Gowron to avenge them, and then in so doing, she I'll give it away, she dies, and Gowron says, you know what, like this woman fought with honor, like you guys should fight like her, and then she redeems the captain and everything else from the ship that she was on, and so their honor is restored. Pretty cool stuff. It happens here. It's pretty neat. This one is about Kelsey Grammer's character. Yeah, so he was in suspended animation for years and years, and then he comes back and he's all depressed and lashing out and stuff. And so this counselor contacts Deanna Troi, and Deanna Troi says, "I've got someone that's going to help him out, right?" And so and so he's lashing out again and everything, and then he opens the door and it's Montgomery Scott who went through the same thing. This is why I love this comic series. They tied everything into the show, and you could easily see that it's part of one canon. And he's like, Montgomery Scott, at your service. So anyway, he's like, I'll help you out. I'm not leaving until I get you up tip-top shape. I love this. This is great. So they would take characters like every character was fair game. Here's an issue 3. Sorry, it's an annual 3. This is total Geordie LaForge storyline. There's a whole big thing. Pretty cool stuff. And finally, we've got the Modula Imperative. Oh, you want to see the backs of these? Under Siege. Natural Born Killers is on the back of this special too. Navy SEALs coming out July 20th. Everywhere. Alright. Modula Imperative. This was a 4-issue miniseries. This incorporated old Spock and old Bones McCoy. Their writing's great because it's totally their voices. It's pretty cool stuff. I wonder if we can get to the part where... Yeah, so here's McCoy interacting with the entire crew. Of course, he turned up in the opening episode of TNG and only talked to Data, but you see him talking to everyone else. This is a story that spans the original series and TNG. Here we've got Double Impact, Feel the Impact at a Theater Near You. Child's Play 3 opens August 30th. I love the backs of these. Addams Family, November 22. And here's issue 4 of Modula Imperative. Pretty cool stuff. And Hook, coming for Christmas. Alright, that was my Star Trek The Next Generation haul. Pretty sweet reading. If you're a Star Trek fan and you haven't really tucked into these comics, you really should. They're fantastic. And, you know, it pains me that these are not canon. They really should be. But later on in DS9 and stuff, they would contradict some of the things in these comics. But anyways, that's my Star Trek Next Generation comic haul. I hope you enjoyed looking at these as much as I did. If you like this video, please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Lots of cool comic book stuff on here. So until next time, take care.